What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to the Sit Down Sports Edition. We got a lot of energy
We're
right
fired
now.
up.
Fired up. We're talking off camera. I figured we would get on here and get going here.
Yeah.
You know who it is across the camera. My man Andrew is back like always.
Tommy's feeling right.
Oh yeah, Tommy's feeling good today. So we're back to our normal scheduled program. And you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna dive into the championship games.
Yeah.
We'll go probably NFC first.
Yeah.
And it's the first game. So what did you think?
This was a very. I think this was, to me personally, I think this is more about how the Packers lost than how the Bucks won. The Bucks did play well for 3 quarters. I think towards the beginning of that fourth, end of that third, they showed a lot of weakness, and they gave the Packers a lot of opportunities to win. Packers ended up losing 31-26. I picked the Packers, you picked the Bucks.
Yes.
Aaron Rodgers could not close the deal when it mattered most.
Which was surprising. Very surprising at that.
Yeah, in more ways than one. Not just in the fourth quarter, but in the red zone. He was 2 for 9 passing in the red zone, trying to force it to Devontae Adams. I believe he threw it to him
3 times in a row.
Yeah, 3 times in a row, 5 times total in the red zone. Only hit him once. They tried to run the same play they ran last week against...
The Rams?
The Rams. They tried to run that same play. Aaron Rodgers had a wide open lane to run in for a touchdown, decided to throw it instead, a complete pass, didn't get it. Maybe not wide open, but he had a better shot running it than he did passing.
I don't know if he would have got there, but I do agree with you in that sense. It looked open. It looked open initially.
I think the Packers, they're not going to get, their team's only going to get worse next year. They're probably going to lose Aaron Jones.
I think they have like 22 people that are free agents next year. That's a lot.
They're not going to re-sign Aaron Jones. They're not going to want to pay him that kind of money. Plus they have A.J. Dillon, Jamal Williams. Not bad. One of them will probably end up being good. Maybe not Aaron Jones good, but good. But the Bucks gave the Packers a lot of opportunities to win in terms of turnovers, right? Brady threw, you think it was 3, but I think it was 2 straight turnover drives in that late stage of the game. I'm not sure.
Maybe he threw one right at the end of the third quarter to get them in a scoring position, and then he threw 2 to start the fourth quarter.
Could be.
So I'm thinking, I don't know for sure. I think that's what happened, but I'll have to go back and check the film.
But regardless, that Bucs offense gave the Green Bay Packers great opportunity to put the ball in the end zone. They went 3 and out both times.
Yep.
So obviously props to the Bucs defense. Defense pressured Aaron Rodgers really well, got after him all game long.
That defense was nasty.
That secondary played outstanding against Devontae Adams. The best anyone's played Devontae Adams all season. Since the Bucs last played.
Correct.
And they shut down Aaron Jones. The Packers couldn't do anything.
And I think, you hit the nail on the head there. In terms of the Buccaneers are going to win games based off of the pressure they apply on the quarterback, right? Because the back end is not that good to perform the way that they performed. I think a lot of that came from the front 7.
Yep.
That front 4 is nasty.
Very
nasty.
Shaq Barrett had a day.
Oh my, JPP had a day.
Ndamukong Suh was clogging run lanes all day. Vita Vea,
he came back. He was a huge presence stopping the run. And then, Levante David and Devin White, they are just so gross at that
front 7 is...
They are so good.
When you look back on this team, whether the Bucs win the Super Bowl next week or not, you're going to look at that front 7.
It's disgusting.
Super dominant, talented across the board. Whether those guys stay together for a long time or they split up and go to different places, because that often happens with really good defense.
Shaq is up this year. JPP is up this year.
You can't pay everyone. So they'll look back at that team. Man, that defense was absolutely nasty.
So nasty, a buzzsaw. For me, I think that I do agree with you in the sense of I think the Green Bay Packers had ample opportunity.
Yes.
But I also think that the opportunity was also squandered in part due to the Buccaneers defense. Sure. They didn't just allow them to go down the field. They battened down the hatches. They gritted down and they made the stops and they needed to make the stops, right? And I think the thing with me that was kind of surprising when it comes to the Green Bay Packers is the lack of cohesion between head coach and quarterback, right? When you hear Aaron Rodgers say, hey, I thought we had 4 downs, right? So I made a play call based off of thinking that I was going to have another attempt at it. That was a little bit alarming to me.
Sure.
That was, confusing, I guess you could say, but I'll say this. I think, Tom Brady, he made the plays he needed to make when he needed to make them.
Yep.
And I think that right there just goes to show why he's a better quarterback than anybody else in this league.
Yeah, absolutely. And Tom Brady, we say, he threw 3 picks during that game. But at the end of the day, when you're looking at playoff games, he's had 4 playoff games with 3 picks or more.
Mm-hmm.
In those games, he's won 3 of them.
Correct.
He knows how to win a football game when it matters most.
Correct.
Not stat watching, not doing all this stuff. He might have thrown picks, but his defense, came up and made the stops when they needed to. But when the going got tough in that 4th quarter and they needed a play and they needed to get past that first down marker, Tom Brady said, "All right,
here we go.
Hop on."
Right. And
Let's go.
And that was so cool too. The epitome of Tom Brady. I was freaking out when I saw this. Right before the second half, right before the half, first half ended, he threw that dime to Scotty Miller, that 40-yard bomb. He had the burqa on, sitting on the sideline, thinking they were kicking the field goal. And they say, "Hey, we're going for it." He takes the burqa off, puts the Superman cape on, and goes out there and drops a dime in the bucket. That's Tom Brady. That is Tom Brady right there. That was so sick. And even you look at his turnovers, right? 1 interception was a tip pass, which he should have thrown better. So
sure.
I will put that partially on him, partially on Mike Evans, more so on Tom Brady. You got to get that down. Mm-hmm. And he was doing that somewhat throughout the game. He was sailing some of his passes. Mm-hmm. So you're going to have to work on that. I'm not too concerned. One of them was a Hail Mary. He just threw up. It was for grabs.
Sure.
But the good thing about that, you look at the field position. It was a punt.
Right.
They were going to punt next play anyway.
Right.
So it was a punt. Okay, who cared? They started on the 30-yard line. Their own 30-yard line, not theirs. Okay, big deal. The third one was a bit tough. That was kind of in the red zone. They needed to kind of get some points there. So that was the one bad one, I would say. Mm-hmm. Actually, the one to Mike Evans was tough too because they were driving there as well. Mm-hmm. But even then, at the very least, he never lost field position. Sure. He always won in field position, even on his turnovers, right? And even though he was making bad turnovers, they were still the best kind of turnover you could have in a situation like that, right, where they matter a lot.
Yes.
You look at Aaron Rodgers, his one interception. What happened? They got it down to the 5-yard line. It's that,
away points.
And that's the difference, mm-hmm. right? In the next play, the Buccaneers punch in and score. Mm-hmm. That's the difference. You don't give your team a chance and you start them on the 5-yard line.
Right.
So it's one of those things where even the turnovers, although unacceptable, and you can't do that in the Super Bowl.
No.
They were still good enough turnovers to not put the team in significant harm's way initially. Right, which matters. In a game like that, playoff football is field position. Mm-hmm. That is playoff football. It's all about winning field position. You're right, and it felt like a classic New England Patriots game. Mm-hmm. We're going to continue. Look at the Super Bowl against the Rams. That was a battle of field position the whole game. And for people who don't know the game, they were bored by it. But that was strategy.
It's chess.
It was correct. And at the end of the day, who won? You know what I'm saying? And I think if you're a Buccaneers fan, which I feel like I'm kind of turning into one right now, I think you should be excited because again, you're going to have Antonio Brown back to the Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. You should be very healthy. Your offensive line is healthy. You got out of there with pretty much no injuries. That defense is cooking right now, mm-hmm. and that Buccaneers team is hot. And you look at playoffs, the team that's hot at the right time tends to pull one out. Uh-huh. But again, we'll get to this other team in a second. You guys already know who's there. But I think if you're the Buccaneers, you should be very excited. And if you guys watched from the beginning, you know who I think was going to be there, Buccaneers.
Yeah.
And it's cool to see them be there because I had a lot of doubts about halfway through that season in terms of how they were playing. But I think in terms of what they were doing offensively, again, pre-snap motion, analyzing defenses through pre-snap motion, right? Yep. Running the football. Thank the Lord they have not given up on that.
Yep.
You look all playoffs. It's a constant running the football with authority, not giving up on running the football. That's a huge deal. That's how you win. And another crazy thing. How did the Buccaneers win, but they almost got doubled in time of possession by the Green Bay Packers, and they lost the turnover battle by 2? That's crazy.
So here's where I'll go with that. The Packers did not play well when it counted. They did the opposite of a Tom Brady, where when it mattered, they didn't really show up. Third downs, off of turnovers, red zone. They played poor. Not even subpar. They played poor in those situations. So the only reason I would caution the Bucs is you do need to take care of the football.
Correct. Yep.
Because that team you got coming up, they're going to take advantage of every single turnover you give out.
Yep.
So you got to be very careful with the football at that point because now you're a team that also you're not really known for having the football for that long. You let your defense kind of do the work, let them grind out long drives, and only end up with field goals. And as soon as you get it, you get a touchdown.
Which if you look,
Scotty Miller going 60 yards.
And if you look at, let's go back, right? You look at Tom Brady's predominantly most of his work. What has he always had? A good bend but don't break defense. He has the same thing right now. I like those chances.
Yep.
Never bet against Tom Brady ever. As my friend, as Billy would say, he was on the show recently, the ghost of Christmas past is coming. Tom Brady is coming, and I'll tell you what, he's coming to solidify his place in the legacy of sports, period. Not football, sports, period.
Well, we're about to talk about the ghost of Christmas present real quick.
Oh, I'll tell you what, if Tom Brady wins the Super Bowl, to me, he's the greatest athlete that has ever lived.
I think he already is.
The great, and I'm not talking just football.
And
the greatest athlete that's
by
ever
that we
lived.
don't mean athletic ability. Obviously,
Correct.
if you put him one-on-one versus LeBron in basketball, or you try to make
Or even-
Tom Brady run the bases in baseball,
Right.
or something
Or
like
even
that.
Aaron Rodgers in football. He's
Right.
not as athletic gifted
Right,
as Aaron
exactly.
Rodgers.
When you say athlete, you mean as a body of work in terms of a career.
We're talking consistency throughout his entire career.
Absolutely.
What he's been able to do
Nobody's been able to do.
with the lack of weapons. You know, nobody wants to talk about that. The lack of weapons he truly had in New England from 2002.
He made his weapons.
Correct. And granted, he had some studs: Randy Moss, Julian Edelman, Gronkowski, Aaron Hernandez, Wes Welker. You know, he had people, but he never had all those people at the same time.
I think you could argue he made a lot of those people, right? Maybe not Gronk and Randy Moss; those are just freaks of athletic
Look at Wes
nature.
Welker. He was a free agent that nobody wanted.
Right. He played well.
Look at Julian Edelman. He was a former quarterback.
Right. Amendola goes to another team. He's just an okay receiver.
Right.
Welker went to the Broncos, played well because he had Peyton Manning, but then after Peyton Manning, because Peyton Manning's one of the best quarterbacks of all time too.
Correct.
Once you get rid of Peyton Manning, okay, Wes Welker's all right. He's just some short wide receiver who's got
Journeyman guy.
concussion issues.
Correct.
Consistently, Tom Brady has taken talent that nobody else either wanted or after they're done there, people tried to use and it didn't pan out very well.
Yeah,
because Tom Brady is someone who's going to make your entire organization better, right? So I guess we have the time to because we only have 2 games.
Right.
Tom Brady arriving in Tampa is more than just his ability to read a play, his ability to throw a football. It's when somebody like Tom Brady steps into your building, 2 things happen. One, you want to be better because he's good.
Yep.
So he's gonna call you up to be better, and B, you're gonna just internally want to be better because he is that good. And you don't want to let him down, and you want to be a part of his story that he's gonna bring to your franchise. 2,
Confidence.
absolutely, right? Confidence, exactly. You go, we just got Tom Brady.
You actually believe now you can win a football game?
If Tom Brady shows up in your locker room, you're like, okay, we can go to the Super Bowl. One man can walk into your building and make you think you can get to a Super Bowl.
Bro.
That's what it does to an organization.
Listen to this. He took the organization that was the worst winning percentage organization in all of sports, WNBA, tennis, anything, and he took it to the Super Bowl in the first year. That's just dumb to me.
And
that's just so stupid.
And people will say, oh, well, he has so many weapons, he has this, that, and the other thing. Why do you think they're all there? Other than Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, who are already there.
And why do you think he picked that place?
Why do you think Antonio Brown's there? Why do you think Gronk's there?
Mm-hmm.
Why do you think some of those players actually stayed there? I'm sure they could have gone somewhere else and gotten more money. Leonard Fournette showed up. Like, there are tons of guys who came to that football team because Tom Brady was there. And not only that, Mike Evans and Chris Godwin are now better football players.
Scotty Miller's a better football player.
No one heard of Scotty Miller before he showed up.
Look at that offensive line. They were one of the most penalty-prone offensive lines in the league. Now they're in the top 10 in terms of least amount of penalties committed.
Because they wanted to play better for Tom Brady.
And Tom Brady he doesn't accept that. He brings a winning culture and a mentality into a locker room and says, this is how we conduct business now. I know because I have 6 Super Bowl rings. I have more rings than I can put on one hand. I think I have credibility, and he does. And that's what he does.
Pat McAfee says it a lot, and he said it earlier in the season. He said it just recently too. Tom Brady shows up in your building, your equipment managers are better.
Yeah.
Your janitors are better. Everyone in that organization is better. because Tom Brady shows up. Because everyone says, oh, we actually got a shot.
Correct.
Let's go. The equipment manager's like, I'm going to hand out shoulder pads like nobody's ever, I'm going to clean these things like nobody's ever cleaned them, because he knows that it's going to be a part of something greater.
Yep.
And people will do pretty much anything when they know that they're a part of something bigger and greater than they've ever been a part of before in their entire lives. Tom Brady also came from New England, Massachusetts, a place where people are no nonsense. You get this done, and you get it done right, or you don't do it at all, and you get the hell out.
Yep.
Tampa Bay, everyone likes to relax.
Hang
everyone
out,
has martinis at 3 p.m. right after work. Everyone's lackadaisical. You saw him accosting his team during the Bears game on Thursday Night Football. Tampa Bay media said, "Oh, Tom Brady's
Why
so
is he doing
mean.
that? Yeah,
Why is
right,
he doing
right,
that? Tom
right.
Brady's got to relax. People aren't going to want to I'm sorry, Tampa. How many Super Bowls do you have?
Right. And it comes down to, do you want to win or not?
Right.
And yeah, when was the last Super Bowl? 18 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I'm
They
excited.
haven't been much good since.
No, they haven't. I'm pumped. I'm so
I'm very
excited.
The NFL is better when Tom Brady is good.
Correct.
People don't like it. People say, "Oh, I don't want to see Tom Brady in another Super Bowl. I'm kind of sick of it." Blah 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 blah. But just appreciate that you are witnessing history every single time he steps on the football field. We're going to talk about something else we should appreciate real quick.
Oh yeah.
That's the Kansas City Chiefs.
Let's dive in. Let's go to it.
So we have
AFC Championship game.
Chiefs Bills. We both picked the Chiefs.
No, we both picked the Bills.
Oh no, we both did pick the Bills.
Yep. Because let's preface it.
We did
both
think-
picked the Bills, thinking
Patrick
that Patrick Mahomes would be a little staggered, a little hurt. He was not. He looked as good as he's ever looked.
Not even a little bit.
And you
I
know,
don't think he was ever hurt.
yeah, it doesn't look like it. And you know, the Chiefs got it done. They did what they're supposed to do.
So this is a football team. We came into this season, we came into the postseason saying, you can't just turn it on when you want to. You have to build up some momentum. You have to do all of these things to be able to succeed. The Kansas City Chiefs, I am convinced, there is a switch in their locker room. They went, boop, okay, it's playoff time. Let's play football. Because as soon as they got into the Browns game, completely different Kansas City Chiefs team. They're playing lights out every single week. They obliterated the Browns up until Patrick Mahomes obviously got hurt left the game. And the Bills never had a chance.
Nope.
They were down, but then everyone's like, all right, well, Patrick Mahomes is on the Kansas City Chiefs, so
Yeah.
they're never out of it.
And, and that was the thing too, right? When I was watching this game, it never felt like the Bills ever threatened the Chiefs one time. It never felt like the Chiefs ever felt any pressure. It always felt like they knew they were going to win this game. And, that's a bad place to be if you're an opposing team, where you never threaten another team. You never put pressure on them or apply fire to them. It's going to be tough to beat a team that's comfortable, especially comfortable with them, with the Kansas City Chiefs, who have that amount of talent and those kinds of weapons. It's going to be tough to beat them. I think the story of this game was that second quarter for the Chiefs. Put up 21 points, that kills you. Right before half, that kills you. And if you look at this, if the Bills give up 14 instead of 21, it's a much closer game now. It is a much closer game. They're within a score. But it was just one of those things. I'll tell you what, I don't think it was the Bills' defense that lost in the game. I think it was the lack of production on offense.
Sure.
And one thing I saw with the Kansas City Chiefs is any defense can be good when they're able to pin their ears back and realize that there's only one form of attack that you have to deal with. And the reason why, again, how we kind of preface this, I like the matchup with the Buccaneers and the Chiefs because the Buccaneers are much more well-rounded. They're much more unpredictable. And that Chiefs defense is not as good as what they look like against the Bills. And again, when you understand, hey, the only way they're going to beat us is throwing. Okay, let's just run a cover 3 all day. Cover 3 or 2 high safety, they're not going to throw on us because we know they're not going to run.
Right.
Let's pin our ears down, let's go get the quarterback, and let's cover up.
Yep.
It's fairly simple when you have to only think about one thing. And, that seemed to kind of be the story of the game. And the speed of the Kansas City Chiefs, the Bills just could not catch them. And kudos to the Chiefs because they realized that early, and they said, okay, instead of going north-south, we're going east-west. We're going sideline to sideline all day long. We're going to wear you down, we're going to tire you out, and then we're going to break you down deep later.
Mm-hmm.
And it was good for the Chiefs, to have the patience to be willing to do that.
Right.
Because especially in the first quarter, 0 points. They committed that first quarter to let's get them tired, let's break them down. And then in the second quarter, 21 points. Third quarter, 10 points. Fourth quarter, where they really didn't need it, 7 points.
Mm-hmm.
They broke them down, they tired them out, and then they had their way. And then that's exactly what it seemed like, at least.
Mm-hmm.
Now, how are you feeling if you're a Bills fan right now?
I'm okay. Josh Allen is 24 years old.
Right.
He had never been to a game as big as the game that he had just been
Mm-hmm.
in. Not everyone's Patrick Mahomes. Josh Allen's not Patrick Mahomes.
Nope.
Patrick Mahomes came in his first year kind of in the playoffs and was like, okay, I'm going to go win a Super Bowl now. Okay. Josh Allen's not that, but 99% of people are not that. So, chill out. Go get a running back. Aaron Jones is going to be available this offseason. Go get him. All of a sudden, if you pick up Aaron Jones, you have a running game now. Congratulations. You can open up a whole separate part of your playbook that didn't involve pass plays.
I hope they commit to it, though.
Yeah,
because I see the Bills having a running back and still not committing.
Sure, and that would be an issue if they didn't do that. But that's a whole other topic.
Yeah.
Sean McDermott's a coaching genius. I think he does not get enough credit for the way he prepares his football teams for games. The Bills were just outclassed in this game. It just kind of is what it is.
Talent versus talent, they weren't able to compete.
Right, exactly. And Andy Reid's no schlub of a head coach either.
Nope.
So very, very good head coach. So Sean McDermott is only going to get better as a head coach. Josh Allen's only going to get better as a quarterback. And he's doubled his passing touchdowns every single year so far. First year started with 10, second year's 20. This year he's like 40. So next year he'll have 80. So Stephon Diggs isn't going anywhere. He's only going to get better with Josh Allen. More chemistry. Cole Beasley's, I'm pretty sure he's staying around. This team's only going to get better. But every single year, the Bills are going to have to answer that question. Can you beat the Kansas City Chiefs? So now, do you start building your team around, well, now we have to beat the Chiefs. Let's get some speed on the offense. Let's get some speed on the defense. Because really, the defense, it's a good defense. There's nothing wrong with it. But the Chiefs are the Chiefs. You need some high caliber defensive play to be able to keep up with the Kansas City type team. So as you build your team, as you fill those holes, look at those needs, right? You have to think, is this going to beat the Chiefs? You have to ask that question every time you make a decision. And if the GM's not asking that question every time he makes a decision, he's making the wrong decisions.
Correct.
Or he's shooting blanks in the dark.
Right.
So, I'm excited if I'm a Bills fan. This is the best our team has been since the 80s. And that's pretty exciting.
And only getting better. I would say the one thing that I think the Bills need to try to address and capitalize on is they need to try to get some stronger pass rush, some more consistent pass rush, right? Because if you look at when you're watching Patrick Mahomes in the pocket, he looked comfortable too much.
Sure.
Granted, when it comes to Patrick Mahomes, he's able to do it all, so he doesn't necessarily need to be comfortable. But when you have, a Shaq Barrett or a JPP about to hit you in your suckle, that's going to make you a little bit uncomfortable, right? And that was one thing I think the Bills weren't able to do.
No.
And like with any quarterback in the NFL, if you can allow them to sit there and be comfortable, you're not winning.
Mm-hmm.
Every quarterback is talented enough to hit a receiver open.
Right.
And I think that was the thing for me. And granted, they sacked him one time, and Patrick Mahomes used his legs to get out of some sacks. Yes, but the proper pass rush doesn't allow the quarterback to escape.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? So it all in all, you have to look at the pass rush of those Bills and say, I needed more from you because our back end is not going to be able to cover all of those people. It's impossible. And that is the key to beating the Chiefs. Pressure Patrick Mahomes. You have to wear him down. You have to drive him into the ground all day long. You have to shorten up his stride. You can't let him step up into his throws. You got to make him think. It's all on Patrick Mahomes.
As you say that, I'm like, but does he really need to step into his throws? Because he can blind, no-look, launches on him.
He doesn't. But I'll say this. You would have to imagine you're more accurate when you're able to step into your balls than when you're not, right?
Yes.
And that's the thing. To beat the Kansas City Chiefs, you need to beat one man, your quarterback, Patrick Mahomes. That is you circle him. You need to beat him.
And it's tough, though, because he is such a playmaker that So most defensive linemen, right? I might be generalizing a little bit, but most defensive linemen, outside linebackers, those rush types, are very single-minded. They are, let's get up, let's jam somebody in the mouth, I fill my gap, that's all I have to do. But when the Chiefs are passing Patrick Mahomes, you can't just rush willy-nilly.
Nope.
You have to run stunts, you have to run different gaps. You have to look at what you're doing, and then it's a mind game with the pass rush that a lot of defensive linemen don't have that kind of mentality. Correct. That they can do that. They just want to go. They just want to go get it. But you can't do that. Patrick Mahomes is going to make you look stupid, and that's what happened against the Bills, right? Patrick Mahomes made that Bills defense look like they were aggressive. The Bills defense is very aggressive, but to a fault.
Correct.
So you need to be intelligent of the way you pass rush. That's one thing the Bucs have, which
Yes.
we'll talk about next week.
Yep.
But the Bucs have intelligent veterans who know how to effectively rush the passer
Correct.
instead of quickly rush the passer.
Correct.
Which is going to be very interesting to see.
That's going to be That's going to be key.
Yeah.
That is going to be key.
Patrick Mahomes, if you are the Chiefs going against Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill, two of the most effective receiver tight end combos ever, I think. We're talking about this before. Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill are probably the most effective tight end wide receiver duo in NFL history. If you can think of a better one, leave it down in the comments below.
Yeah, big time.
But I would have a hard time thinking you would. A lot of arguments I've seen is Tony Gonzalez and Julio Jones, which effective, sure, but dominant like Tyreek and Travis Kelce, no. Dallas Clark and Reggie Wayne, sure.
That's a good one.
Randy Moss and Robert Gronkowski, they played for 4 games.
Right.
So, not so much. Talent-wise, sure. Effectiveness, no. But McCole Hardman fumbles the ball on a punt, gives the Bills perfect field position. Chiefs go down 10-0 after a punt. That next Kansas City offensive drive,
Went right back to him.
right back to him. They said, McCole, we're giving you the ball. He said, sure? They said, yes, we're giving you the ball. We believe in you. Take it. He took it 60 yards down the field, put the Chiefs in a perfect position.
Inside the 10.
And
Yep.
since that play,
Boom.
Chiefs are going to win.
Took off. Yep.
So,
And that was the thing.
I
Once
love-
I saw that play, it was over.
and I love how it's almost like backyard football, where they're like, all right, you messed up, but it's okay. We're going to get you right back out there. Go make a play. Andy Reid coaches these guys up really well. They respect him. They love him. And they have such a perfect family roster going on right now where nobody is successful unless somebody else is. And I love that about Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah, I do too, and I think that's something that makes them so good is the fact that they instill confidence in each player, right?
Yeah.
Hey, listen, we're gonna have many more attempts to score the football. It's okay.
Yeah.
Let it go. We're gonna put up points. Don't
Right.
worry about it, right? Because not every team can do that, right? If you miss out on points, damn, we might not get another chance at this, right?
Mhm.
You know, for the Chiefs, you're gonna have
Every
2 or
single
3
time.
more chances at least, right? So, bro, I'm so excited, bro. This is gonna be nuts. So, guys, I want to give you a quick kind of update in terms of where we're going for the next couple of weeks, because we're gonna kind of freestyle a little bit. So, what we're gonna do is we're gonna come back on Thursday. We're gonna do a little quarterback special, pretty much. So, what we're gonna do is we're gonna talk about quarterback movement in the league, people who are gonna be up, free agents, potential trade picks, and we're gonna talk about where that we think they're gonna go, why. So that's gonna be coming out on Thursday. Next Tuesday, what we think about doing on Tuesday?
NFL honors.
Oh, so we're
Give
gonna
out
do our
awards.
NFL honors. So we're gonna give out our awards to people for the year. We'll have to brainstorm on that later, but
Yeah.
we'll do that. And then a week from Thursday is gonna be obviously our Super Bowl predictions, and we're gonna kind of get in depth there. I think
Yeah.
we're gonna talk about specific matchups, what teams can and can't do, what things to look for. So we're gonna kind of dive in there. But yeah, so that's what the schedule's gonna kind of look like for the next week and a half, 2 weeks, and I'm excited. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
But alright, y'all. We will see you on Thursday, where we kind of dive into our quarterback movement special. But until next time, we will see you guys later.